Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Mrs. Indriani and my colleagues. Thank you for your time. I am Adisti Aurasal Sabila from the SIG group. I will present to you about gymnosperm's reproduction. Before we get into the reproduction of gymnosperms, let's recall some general things about gymnosperms first. The definition of gymnospermy is a vascular plant at spermatophyte. It means that the plants are produced from the seed and generate seeds. Gymnospermy took from the Greek word gymno means naked and sperm means seed. Therefore, its name indicates that its germ is exposed and does not develop in a closed ovary as fruit would. Those plants tend to establish in all areas of the world, but they are most common in cold and Arctic climates. Gymnosperm have had their unique characteristic and have different from the other plant taxa. Those are ancient and date back to the end of the Carboniferous period. Gymnosperm also have vascular tissues that acquiesce resources distribution from their roots to their leaves. Those have produced a seed that does not develop in an ovary. They are woody plants with an arboreal appearance with stems, leaves, roots, and seeds. They are generally plants without flower or fruits. Also, gymnosperm grow from cones that generate fertile leaves. Gymnosperm had classified into three classes based on Stewart's 1983. These are Progymnospermopsida, Gymnospermopsida, and Gnetopsida. The discovery of the organic connection between the leaf of free-sporing fern, Archaeopteris, and stem, Calixylon, with gymnospermous character led to the establishment of the class Progymnospermopsida, the probable progenitor of Gymnospermos. Progymnospermopsida represent a network of Devonian age from which Cycadophyte and Coniferophyte evolved. The class Gymnospermopsida also form a natural group of vascular plants comprising at least two divergent phyletic lines, like Cycadophyte and Coniferophyte, which corresponds distinctive characteristics. Certain frequent features of Gnetopsida are comparable to angiosperms, like vessels are present in the wood and the microsporangia, and ovules are borne on fertile shoots, which form compound strobilus. The reproduction of gymnospermae includes three materials, like development of reproduction organ, pollination and fertilization, and also germination. The first class that we will discuss is Progymnospermopsida. Progymnospermopsida had some characteristic which their reproduction was carried out by heterospores with woody stems, and during the time that we understand which heterospores are the reproduction characteristic of pteridophyte, the woody stem is the character of the gymnosperm plant. Those characters form the class Progymnospermae, the progenitor of gymnosperm plants. And the example of this class is Archaeopteris sp at the figure 1. The second class that we will discuss is Gymnospermopsida. The example of Gymnospermopsida plant is Cycas rumpi. This plant has two reproduction ways. First, vegetative reproduction, and the second is sexual reproduction. First, vegetative reproduction. The most common method of vegetative propagation in cycas is by bulbils. The bulbils develop from the axil of the scaly leaves. They are more or less oval structures with a broad base narrowing toward the apex. Several scaly leaves are arranged spirally and compactly over a dormant stem in a bulbil. On detachment from the stem, a bulbil starts germination by producing many roots toward the lower side and a leaf towards the upper side. A bulbil from male plant will develop only into the male plant, while from the female plant will form only the female plant, because Cycas is a strictly dioecious plant. The The second way of reproduction from the Gymnospermopsida is the sexual reproduction. Cycas is strictly thesis, which means male and female sex organs are born on separate plants. After several years of vegetative growth, the plants start to form sex organ. The male plants develop male cones or male strobili bearing microsporophyll, while the female plants produce a loose collection of megasporophylls. The male cone is terminal, while the megasporophyll are produced in succession with a leaf at the top of the stem. And then I will describe about microsporogenesis of cycas. The sporogenous cells repeatedly divide mitotically, and it might enlarge and become rounded and form microspore mother cells that calls mime. The mime undergoing reduction division after the first meiosis. Thus, each member of a tetrad is contained within its own chamber. The anteradial initial divides again to form a small anteradial cell and a large tube cell. And the tube cell is usually vacuolate and has a large nucleus. The pollen grains are shed at the three-cell stage that called prothallial cell, anteradial cell, and the tube cell. And the next, I will describe about megasporogenesis of cycas. Generally, the young nucellus has one to several hypodermal archesporal cells. One of the sporogenous cells function as the megaspore mother cells, and beside of that, one or more megaspore mother cells become distinct by their prominent nuclei and dense cytoplasm. Gradually, the entire female gametophyte becomes cellular. The thicker strand supplies the outer fleshy layer, and the thinner ramifies into the fleshy inner layer. And the next is pollination of Gymnospermopsida, especially of Cycas rumpi. The male cones mature when the young megasporophyll have emerged on the female plant, and the ovules are at the free nuclear gametophytic stage and ready for pollination. The single integument is drawn out into a short micropyle tube, which secretes a pollination drop close to the nucellus of the ovule. The wingless pollen grains usually float into the pollination drop, which retracts soon after that. This tube often branches horizontally. The pollen tube does not transport the male gametes, but establishes only a haustorial system. The branched pollen tube continues invasion of the nucellus and the haustorial activity increases. The anteradial cell divides periclinally, and the sperms start rotating movement while still enclosed in the body cell. They are released by the rupture or dissolution of the outer walls of the sperm mime into the basal end of the pollen grain. By their cilia, they will move freely in the fluid of the target pollen grain end and remain active for several hours. After we discuss about the pollination, we will enter the next step that is fertilization step. The proximal end of numerous pollen grains hang into the archegonial chamber. Finally, it will burst and form a short pollen tube through which it will discharge the male gametes into the archegonial chamber. The gametes will swim for about 15 minutes or more with a forward and circular motion. The band of flagella will form the anterior end. On entering the egg cytoplasm, the flagellate band of the male gamete is cast off and is left at the tip of the egg cytoplasm. The male nucleus will penetrate deep into the larger egg nucleus before its membrane disappears. After a sperm entered an archegonium, it is sealed off by a dark staining substances, which is probably derived from a degenerated sperm. Often one or two, or maybe sometimes up to five, additional sperm will penetrate the cytoplasm of an egg cell, but only the first sperm that will fertilize the egg nucleus. And the next is embryogenesis of Cycas rhombi. The nuclei are distributed throughout the young pro-embryo. In later stages, the free nuclei, mostly concentrate at the base of the pre-embryo, and only a few nuclei are present in the upper thin cytoplasm. Cells are formed only in the lower portion of the archegonial cavity, and then following cell wall formation, the cells at the base will divide and function as embryonal cells. The upper cells will differentiate into a suspensor and the uppermost layer of cells. As the buffer cells, the latter form a few layers of tissues around a central vacuole. And this is the life cycle of Cycas rhombi. And the life cycle of this organism conclude all of the explanation before. Sporophyte phase would start from seed until the forming of microspore and megaspore. But the gametophyte phase would start when the spores start to develop from meiosis to their fertilization. And the next example of Gymnospermopsida is Pinus sp. The reproduction takes place by means of spores developed in sporangia situated on the sporophylls. The strobilus or cones of the Pinus are monosporangiate, which means the two kinds, which is male and female cones, will occur on the same plant since the plants are monoecious. Microsporogenesis has the following steps. Following the meiosis phase, wall formation, it will be simultaneous. Callus grows centripetally and separating the four nuclei, and tetrahedral and isobilateral tetrads are formed. There are no plasmodesmatal connection in this phase. The uninucleate microspore or pollen grain is the first cell of the male gametophyte. After the formation of prothallial cells, the antheridial initial will divide and giving rise to a small antheridial cell, which is remain attached to the intine at the site of prothallial cell, and large or vacuolate tube cell with conspicuous nucleus. The pollen germination will be arrested and further development takes place on the nucellar apex. Megasporogenesis of Pinus sp will be started with the archesporial cell become distinguishable while the female cone is still covered by scale leaves. It differentiates at the broad apical end of the nocellus and divide transversely to give rise to primary parietal and primary sporogenous cell. That cell is pushed deep into the nucellus and later function as the megaspore mother cell called mine. The latter undergoes first meiosis and produces a dyad. Only a triad is formed if the upper dyad cell does not undergo second meiosis, or a tetrad if both of dyads undergo second meiosis. The causal of megaspore functions so that the development of the gametophyte is monosporic. In Pinus, the pollination is affected by the wind. The pollen grains fall on the scales of the female cone, and at this time, the edges of the bracts scales become incurved, while separating the ovulivores scales, which allow the pollen grain to reach the ovules. As the pollination is over, the drop of mucilaginous fluid will dry up, drawing the pollen grains through the micropyle to the apex of the nucellus where they germinate. After pollination and the scales close, the young cones increase some in size and begin to become hard. The pollen tube elongates until it reaches the neck of an archegonium. The end of the pollen tube enters the neck and bursts, discharging the stalk cell, tube nucleus, and the two unequal male cells. With the result of fertilization is a thick wall and diploid oospore is formed. This is life of Pinus sp, and this life cycle of Pinus sp conclude all of my explanation before, which is the sporophyte phase will start from seed until the forming microspore and megaspore, and the gametophyte phase will start fertilization. And the gametophyte phase, will be start when the spores start to develop from meiosis after the forming of microspore and megaspore, and then until their fertilization that form oospore and then become embryo, seed, and form the pinus again. The third class that we will discuss is Cnetopsida. The example of Cnetopsida plant is Cnetum sp. All the species of Cnetum are dioecious and bear male and female reproductive organs on different plants. Microsporogenesis starts with the sporogenous cells undergoing further division, and the microspore mother cells contain dense cytoplasm and prominent nuclei. Prior to this phase of meiosis, the protoplasm recedes and a special mucilaginous wall is secreted between the protoplasm and the mother wall. The tetrad are tetrahedra, isobilateral, and decussate. As the microspore enlarge, the original wall, will break down, and the young microspore are released. Meiosis in Cnetum sp is non-synchronous in the developing megaspore mother cells. Walls are not laid down after first and second meiosis, which will result in the formation of tetranuclear xenomegaspore. The four nuclei later move to the peripheral cytoplasm, and it will be placed surrounding a central vacuole. The pollen grains in the germination of Cnetum sp is placed in the shallow pollen chamber on the nucellar tip and occasionally in the micropillar tube. Germ pores are absent on this extent. During germination, the extent is thrown off and the intine nearest to the tube nucleus, And this intine that placed near the tube nucleus will grow into a tube. The tube nucleus is the first to enter the pollen tube. The prothallial cell remains in the grain and degenerate in situ. The body cell will divide to form two male gametes. All of the pollen tubes do not reach the female gametophyte at the same time, nor do the eggs differentiate simultaneously. As soon as one of the eggs is fertilized, wall formation begins in the upper part of gametophyte. The two small male nuclei are discharged into the cell containing the egg nucleus, and as the male and female nuclei come into contact, it will be form the chromatin become more intense, and the nucleoli disappear from both nuclei, and the two groups of chromosome will be eventually become indistinguishable. This is the references that I used to compile these materials. That brings us to the end of my presentation. In brief, gymnosperm reproduction have two ways. Those are sporophyte and gametophyte phase, and their reproduction would bring us to know their reproduction development and pollination, fertilization, until their embryogenesis too. Thank you for your time and your attention. I apologize for all my mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Okay, it's nice presentation from Adisti about the reproduction of gymnosperm. Ya, silakan kalau ada pertanyaan yang mau dijawab secara langsung ya atau sinkron, disilakan. Jadi ini tadi ada 3 kelas ya, karena tadi berakhiran opsida, 3 kelas dari gimnosperme yang ditelaah reproduksi seksualnya ya. Namun demikian tadi yang sebenarnya yang paling purba ya, paling purba itu Progymnospermopsida. Ini tadi mendekati ini ya, Pteridosperms ya. Jadi tadi 3 hal yang penting adalah tadi pada sikas, pada pinus, dan pada gnetum blinjo ya. Jadi masing-masing dari genus tadi punya kekhasan sendiri ya. Jadi ada yang berumah 2 ya, sikas dan gnetum, serta ada yang berumah 1 atau monoisis ya, monosius itu pada pinus ya. Baik, silakan kalau ada yang mau ditanyakan. Bagaimana? Belum ada? Ya, Adisti itu tadi dari 3 terakhir ya, 3 genus terakhir tadi. Apakah ada perubahan atau apa evolusi untuk gamet jantannya ya? Ya, Adisti bisa diikuti.
Ya, Ibu, bisa diikuti. Saya
Ya.
mohon waktu untuk 1 menit terlebih dahulu. Apakah diizinkan, Bu?
Ya, silakan.
Ya, baik. Terima kasih, Ibu. Permisi, Bu. Apakah suara saya terdengar?
Ya, silakan.
Ya, apabila sepemahaman saya, Bu, selama saya menyusun materi itu terdapat satu evolusi atau terdapat evolusi dari perkembangan reproduksi di 3 genus ini, Bu. Di salah satu yang saya pahami itu ada di ketika perkembangannya itu untuk mencapai ke mana sel telurnya itu ada yang seperti langsung prosesnya itu langsung menembus ke dinding ovumnya, ada pula yang itu terhambat terlebih dahulu begitu, Bu. Tapi saya belum terlalu paham terkait penjelasan itu tadi, jadinya saya belum berani untuk memasukkannya. Tetapi sejauh yang saya pahami ada evolusi di situ. Apakah seperti itu, Bu, atau bagaimana? Mohon maaf
Ya,
apabila salah.
memang kalau di gimnosperme itu sebenarnya dia itu kan bisa dikatakan peralihan ya dari Dovita mau ke Angiosperme ya. Jadi pada terutama yang terlihat itu pada sikas ya. Jadi tadi yang di yang kedua ya, Gymnospermopsida ya. Nah, pada sikas itu gamet jantan ya. Gamet jantannya itu masih disebut sebagai anteridial ya, anteridial. Masih memerlukan alat gerak ya, atau apa itu untuk motil ya, untuk mobile. Nah, alat geraknya tadi adalah berupa silia. Jadi itu mengingatkan pada taksa yang di bawahnya ya. Jadi masih memerlukan alat gerak. Kalau memerlukan gerak berarti ada media yang diperlukan untuk bertemu dengan gamet betina ya. Makanya itu ada tadi disebut disti pollination drop ya. Ya,
pollination drop.
Ya, jadi pollination drop itulah yang digunakan oleh ini. Jadi ini yang ada gambar F sama gambar E sama F ini ada keluarnya ini sebenarnya adalah silianya ya, silia dari sperm sikas ya. Jadi itu yang menunjukkan tahapan yang lebih rendah ya dalam hal evolusi untuk perkembangbiakannya itu ya. Nah, sementara pada yang tadi pinus ya, spermnya itu sudah tidak ada alat geraknya ya. Tapi dia mengembangkan ini sakus atau wing. Coba yang ini yang mikrospor. Ya ini ya. Jadi ini ada mulai gambar G, HI, itu di kiri kanannya itu kan ada benjolan, ada tonjolan. Itu adalah sakus atau wing, sayap ya. yang merupakan pelebaran dari intin atau membran dalam dari sperm tadi, ya. Mengapa pada pinus mengembangkan wing? Karena tadi penyerbukannya melalui apa? Diserbu oleh apa untuk pinus?
Angin, Ibu.
Angin, ya. Makanya itu meskipun ini termasuk monosius ya, jadi satu individu itu ada 2 cabang. Jadi cabang untuk yang Strobilus betina dan nanti cabang Strobilus jantan itu berbeda letaknya, ya. Jadi ketika nanti dari Microsporangium atau Strobilus jantannya, maka jika ada angin, sakus ini atau sayap ini berguna untuk apa? Untuk turun ya, atau turun ke ini, ke pollination drop yang ada di Strobilus betinanya. Jadi sepertinya ini adalah strategi ya atau evolusi yang sangat efisien bagi pinus untuk menyebarkan polennya ke Strobilus betina itu ya. Jadi tadi agak beda kan dengan yang di sikas. Kalau sikas masih memerlukan motilitasnya itu dengan silia itu, ya. Nah, kemudian pada gimnosperme yang dianggap paling modern, paling maju, yaitu gnetum, ya. Blinjo ya. Blinjo. Coba ada enggak ini mikrospor blinjo? Nah, ya. Di sini selain daunnya itu sudah tidak berupa daun seperti jarum ya, daunnya itu sudah laminanya pipih seperti halnya angiosperme. Nah, ternyata untuk mikrospornya itu sudah sama dengan yang ada di angiosperme, ya. Jadi ini tidak memerlukan alat tambahan. Silia pun tidak, ya. Kemudian sakus atau sayap juga tidak. Jadi ini seperti pollen grain yang terdapat di angiosperme. Jadi lebih maju lagi seperti itu, ya. Kemudian ini ada pembelahan dari sel induk mikrospornya juga nanti akan karena membelah meiosis ya menjadi 4. Ada yang bentuknya tetrahedral. Jadi tetrahedral itu gambar F ya. Kita tidak melihat satu hanya 3 karena yang satu itu ada di belakang. Jadi ini kan gambar 2 dimensi, jadi tidak kelihatan. Ini namanya tetrahedral. Ya. Kemudian yang gambar G itu ada yang menyebut decusatus atau isobilateral itu ya. Jadi ini kelihatan semua keempat-empatnya seperti itu. Ini persis seperti yang ada di angiosperme. Ya. Bagaimana dengan yang gamet betina? Ya, kalau gamet betina yang menonjol pada gimnosperme itu, jadi sebelum dibentuk sel telur, itu ada struktur yang disebut archegonium, ya. Jadi archegonium itu juga kan ingatan kita masih mengarah juga ke taksa di bawahnya, yaitu pada Pteridophyta, ya ada archegonium. Jadi setelah dibentuk archegonium, baru nanti dibentuk sel telur. Nah, sedangkan pada angiosperme yang lebih maju, struktur archegonium itu sudah tidak ada lagi, ya. Jadi itu juga menunjukkan evolusi dalam reproduksi seksualnya, ya. Ini yang megasporogenesis ada nggak di sini? Ya ini gambar D. Ini disebut tadi Disti sudah mengatakan itu adalah xenomegaspor. Apa artinya xenomegaspor? Xenomegaspor itu megaspora dengan banyak inti, ya. Di sini kita tidak melihat adanya dinding sel. Jadi intinya itu banyak. Istilah umumnya xenosit, ya, tapi karena ini di megaspor, maka disebutnya xenomegaspor. Dan xenomegaspor ini nanti itu akan dibawa terus sampai ke angiosperme, ya. Jadi nanti ada pada saat setelah fertilisasi, ya, nanti ada tahapan 2 inti, 4 inti, sampai 8 inti, ya, sampai nanti menjadi embrio sak yang mature, ya, atau kantung embrio yang mature. Ini dibawa terus sampai ke angiosperme. Jadi itu cikal bakalnya dari genetum. Jadi pada yang di sikas dan pada yang di pinus itu masih belum seperti genetum, itu ya. Ya, bagaimana? Jelas ya. Jadi saya melihat itu yang penting di gimnosperme. Jadi ada evolusi untuk seksual reproduction-nya, itu bisa diikuti tadi dari yang sudah disampaikan Disti, ya, dengan melihat gambar-gambar diagramatis, ini juga bisa diikuti. Jadi untuk taksa yang lebih tinggi memang belajar ini, ya, belajar perkembangan atau reproduksi aseksual itu memerlukan irisan, ya. Jadi ini mata kuliah mikroteknik sangat penting sekali. Jadi itu dipakai untuk membuat irisan ini. Namun demikian kadang-kadang irisan itu bisa tidak masih membingungkan, atau bisa saja yang kita cari tidak ketemu. Jadi akhirnya harus di drawing, harus digambar diagram. Itu akan lebih akan bisa lebih menjelaskan. Makanya ini tadi dari beberapa yang disampaikan itu banyak drawingnya, ya, gambar diagram. Tapi ini sangat membantu, ya. Kalau misalnya preparat mikroskopisnya itu susah untuk diinterpretasikan. Tentu saja gambar diagram ini berdasarkan dari preparat mikroskopis tadi. Jadi tidak asal gambar, gitu ya. Jadi untuk memperjelas, maka itu banyak terkait juga dengan SPT itu yang gambar drawing harus dikuasai. Baik, dari saya seperti itu. Ada yang mau ditanyakan lagi di luar yang sudah kita bicarakan? Ada tidak pertanyaan? Baik, kalau tidak ada, kita moving ke Google Classroom. Ya, mohon slide atau PDF-nya bisa diunggah di Google Classroom. Terus nanti mahasiswa bisa chatting ya, tanya jawab dengan lebih leluasa meskipun secara asinkron ya di Google Classroom. Ini nanti saya akan ikuti yang di Google Classroom. Ya. Baik, terima kasih untuk Adisti yang sudah menyampaikan topik reproduksi pada gimnosperme, ya, reproduksi seksual pada gimnosperme. Sekarang kita moving ke Google Classroom. Saya cukupkan sampai di sini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.